Okay, so if we're talking about what is competence in numeracy for nursing, what is a competent person in nursing able to do in terms of numeracy? Well, there's our numeracy circle. Healthcare numeracy, a subset of that. And of course it could be numeracy in forestry or numeracy in retail or whatever it might be. Within healthcare numeracy, you have drug calculation. So again, put your own examples in from industries that you're aware of. And drug calculation is itself a part of medicines management, which sort of runs over healthcare numeracy more broadly as well. Oops, sorry, go back to there. We had a very interesting discussion in the interdisciplinary research team that I was part of that produced this work. Our aim, by the way, I should have said, was to propose and work towards establishing a benchmark for numeracy in nursing for newly qualified nurses. So in other words, a way that anyone coming out of nurse training, nurse education, this was in the UK, so in the UK, would be able to say, yes, I have performed within these parameters, I'm safe in terms of my numeracy. Because what's been happening up to now is that universities have been testing in their training process. Nurses, newly qualified nurses have then gone out, and the first thing that's happened is they've been tested again because the employers don't necessarily trust the universities. So I think, again, there are other industries where similar situations might apply. Anyway, we had a very interesting discussion within the research team. I was one of only 2 non-nurses in the team. And some of the people who were nurses by training and background said that one of the issues we found in our empirical research that we did was actually a medicines management issue and not a numeracy issue. And the issue they were talking about was that some of the students we assessed, one of the tasks they had to do was draw up liquid medicine into a syringe. And quite a few of them, an alarming number actually, drew up air bubbles into the syringe. In various positions, and some seemed very, totally unaware that that was a health issue, a real risk to the patient if that had been real medicine they were actually going to give. But also, they were measuring, some of them, the point where the air bubble ended rather than where the liquid ended, and the air bubble shouldn't have been there anyway. And even in one case, somebody gave us a completely empty syringe with a reading where they obviously thought there was liquid. And you thought, well, how did they, because the liquid was bright red, how did you miss it? Maybe they had colour vision problems, I don't know. But anyway, so the discussion in the team was as to whether this was a medicines management issue or a numeracy issue. And I argued very strongly, and I'm glad to say I won the argument, that it's actually a numeracy issue as well as a medicines management issue. No question it's a medicines management issue because that should not be happening, and the nursing students need to be trained so that they don't make that mistake. But it's a numeracy issue because the measurement was not a measurement of what it was required to be. You don't just measure in a vacuum, well, I suppose you do if you're a scientist perhaps, but in these sort of situations, you're measuring something. It's a bit like, conversations about literacy. You can't just be literate. You have to be literate in terms of reading and writing something. It's the same with numeracy. It relates to something. And the something was being misjudged drastically in those situations. So, I'm coming to the end, right? This is my last but one slide. So this is hot off the press, the sort of schema that we came up with to describe where competence for, in the middle there, medication dosage calculation problem solving fitted. It fits within conceptual competence, within technical measurement competence, because if you can't actually use the syringe appropriately. If it's a syringe you're working with, you have a problem. And it involves arithmetical operation and computational competence. And a lot of the work that's been done on numeracy for nursing has focused on that purple circle and not looked at the other intersecting areas, which I think is a mistake. It needs to look more broadly than that. So coming back to my definition, numeracy in the workplace, I would argue, requires one to be competent, confident and comfortable with one's judgments on whether to use maths in a particular situation. If so, what to use, how to do it, how accurate you need to be, and what the answer means in relation to the context, especially in a safety-critical context. So, finally, in the National Centre, we're working collaboratively, I hope with all of you, certainly with ITF and other colleagues here, to build capacity in adult literacy and numeracy, including workplace numeracy, across New Zealand. And I hope very much you'll use our contacts there, Nikki and myself, and look at our website to take us up on that challenge. And for those who are interested, there's a whole load of references there, but they're very small, so. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.